Guys, we're coming to you live. Happy Sunday to everybody with Hot Rod Rodney Green, boxing analyst. And we're going to be talking about this weekend's festivities, pick his brain and what he thought, what his takeaways are, as well as our first installment of Boxing's Best and Worst for the year 2025. All of this and more on the latest edition of WaraWeek Boxing.
Vashon Holdings proudly presents WaraWeek Radio Chats with ring announcer Joseph Herring.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Tell you what, we are just now, 4 days before Christmas?
Woo.
Chihuahua. This year has flown by, guys, not just in personal life, but in this year of boxing. I'll tell you what, I can't believe it's already December 21st. But we still have one more fight card to go. And that's the, what are they calling it? The Year of the Samurai in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Our brother Thomas Treiber is going to be doing all the ring announcing there from Riyadh next Saturday, or this upcoming Saturday, December 27th. But I'll tell you what, to talk about everything that happened this weekend, as well as go over our candidates, our first installment of the best and worst of 2025 in boxing, we'd like to welcome our brother and featured analyst, Rodney Green. Rodney, welcome to the show, sir. Good to see you, my friend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, we have to have something good to talk about because there's nothing good to mention in football. That's for sure.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Man. I swear, I think Jaime Munguia has a better defense than our Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, my God, man. Whoa. Anyway.
That's saying something.
Yeah. I would not dispute that the way I feel right now, man, at all.
Oh, boy, I tell you what. Guys, we don't want to talk about football right now. It's too depressing, too close to Christmas. But we had Judgment Day between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua this past Saturday. Rodney, something tells me that this is going to not only be a candidate for worst fight of the year, but worst fight card of the year. What we saw on Saturday night.
Yeah, well, let's just talk about the main event, and it was built up, and it created a lot of buzz, a lot of interest, and rightly so. Jake Paul, he is a good, self promoter, and he had many people thinking that he was a live dog in the fight. Okay, so, but if you go back to, I think I show, maybe was it Wednesday? I'm not for sure what day it was. I said, man, looking at the face-off, I didn't realize how much smaller he was when he was, sized up against Anthony Joshua. I mean, it was a very telling, scene to see that he was like, man, I mean, just not even, I mean, come on, man. Like, you were looking at a huge man and a man that wasn't near the size to really, really compete in the heavyweight, division. Now, it's one thing to not be the size of the heavyweight, and you can still compete in the heavyweight division like James Toney's done it. But hey, man, these guys have all world skills. Roy Jones
Yep.
done it. You know what I
Yep.
mean? But they have the skills to do it. But Jake Paul, to be his size, man, I started thinking like, man, okay, he doesn't have the best reflexes. And as I tell folks, Floyd and you have a lot of boxers who can get on their fight, going back or retreat, but to do that for a whole fight, man, eventually it will catch up with you. So as the fight progressed, we saw that Joshua's size uh, was too much to overcome, and Jake not having the skill set to really compete in this division, and lack of reflexes, okay, lack of fundamentals,
Lack of
amateur
power.
boxing, lack of power,
But
lack of
that's also technique. He doesn't know really how to punch.
yeah,
Not at
and
that level. Not at
yeah,
the heavyweight.
yeah, not the heavyweight, and just boxing IQ, boxing acumen, everything, at this level. And again, man, like Joe Louis said, you can run, but you can't hide. Okay.
Yep.
And eventually he got found in a corner. It was no way out. And ultimately, that was the end of Jake Paul. It would be very, very interesting to see where he goes from here. Because I'm going to tell you something, Joseph. I'm going to tell our audience something, man. He didn't fight a heavyweight from the 90s
Oh,
because
jeez.
he could have got killed, man. He could have got killed or been seriously, seriously hurt, man. Because again, that was a prime example, man. You don't play boxing, you can get seriously
Yep.
hurt. And Jake
Well,
Paul, even with the broken jaw, he should be grateful, man. That's the only thing that was broken.
yeah, that's true. Imagine him in the ring with Ike Ibiabuchi or David Tua in their primes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, look, guys, and or Joshua, for as accomplished as he is, he's never been an effective aggressor.
Right.
He's always had two left feet. He can't cut off the ring and close the distance effectively. And a guy like David Tua, who made a career out of that, would have ended it probably in about 30 seconds, even with Jake Paul with his running shoes on. And let's be honest, with that huge ring, we all knew that he was just going to spend most of the fight running. And that he did. But once you guys still hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you now.
Okay, very good. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's just when panic set in. Yeah, the end was near, and it was all she wrote.
Yeah,
When he realized he couldn't hurt Anthony Joshua, it was all over.
yeah. It was pretty much academic once he found out he couldn't hurt him. And that's what I'm saying. When you don't have the skill set or the boxing acumen to say, okay, I can't hurt him, then what's going to be, my alternative or what's going to be my next option? He had no options.
Yeah, look, if he had the speed, reflexes, and skill set, an amateur background of Chris Bird,
Oh, yeah, there you
then
go.
he might have been able to do something because because Chris Bird couldn't punch himself out of a paper bag, but he was
Right.
able to defeat David Tua in one of the best boxing performances of the
Yeah.
last 30 years.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. But that just goes to show you, once again, you don't have to be a big heavyweight to compete, but you have to have some other skill set that allow you to offset, your lack of size. So again, what is James Toney, Roy Jones, Chris Bird, all those guys, again, wasn't the biggest, but they could tap into whether it was their reflexes, their defensive, prowess. And, Jake Paul, man, he didn't have that. And you don't just get that overnight. You don't develop that,
No.
you know. So, and it showed.
Yep. And well, look, let's get away from Jake Paul for the time being. What was your assessment of Anthony Joshua? Because I tell you what, he surprised me a bit. No, he didn't look great. He didn't even look good by any stretch of the imagination, but he didn't look completely shot like we had originally assessed.
I'm just gonna say this though. The jury's still out on Anthony Joshua. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that because I know he wasn't in there with top tier competition. What I would do if I'm Joshua, I would try to get a tune up before he gets in the ring with Tyson Fury. I really will. Yeah, I really would. I would say, okay, I need a true training camp and I need to fight another fighter that where I can get some kind of rhythm. You know what I mean? So I don't want to indict him or even give him a lot of praise or do. I would just say that I want to see him in the ring with a real fighter where he has to make adjustments. Okay,
Yep.
he has to be cognizant of getting hit with something back. I mean, because man, I don't care who you are. If you get in the ring and I don't have to worry about you hit me with anything serious, then guess what? I don't have to work on my defense. I don't have to work on my head movement or no technique. I don't have to worry about you setting traps. So I'm just going to say that, for me, the jury's still out. However, I think by him winning has laid the groundwork for a big fight in Wembley Stadium between Fury and Joshua. So I don't know whether that's going to be in mid 26, end of
No, no,
26.
no. He's scheduled to fight in February
Okay.
again.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so this is once again expected to be a tune-up, working with his new team, en route to a potential fight with Tyson Fury in possibly August or September. But that all is contingent on whether or not Tyson Fury wants to come out of retirement. All indications point to him doing that. Now look, I'll be honest. As much as we had just loved to see the fight straight out, would you recommend Tyson Fury taking a tune-up as well?
Man, you know what? With the way Tyson Fury is one of my favorite fighters, but we all know, man, he's not the kind of person that's really loves to train, is always in the gym and always, so uh
That's putting it lightly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I would like for him to take a tune up and train, and I would love for in a perfect world for him and David Hay put on a good show, and they can both go on to the sunset and just be done with boxing. I think again, that's a fight that never happened, and it would be a shame if it didn't happen. But I would love to see Tyson Fury come in shape. You know. Really put his best foot forward. In the same way with David Hay, I just think he just needs to, man, get another training camp, a real training camp, fight a true professional. I don't know who that would be. I don't know who we could line up, but nevertheless, so I think it's inevitable these guys will be fighting in 2026.
Well, look, let's go to this, and I just wanted to get your before we start talking about these Fight of the Year honors. It was posted today that Roy Jones, as well as Andre Ward, would like to see SOG Andre Ward uh, fight Anthony Joshua in 2026. Rodney, if they're selling, are you buying?
You know what, man? Uh, Let me just say this, man. Andre Ward retired. He went out on his own terms. Uh, Now I can see why, because as a pugilist, he sees some chinks in um, Anthony Joshua's armor. I mean, even it's not hard to see he's regressed and he's not the same fighter. Okay. Uh, do I want to see it? Would it really, you know, uh, get me excited about it? I don't think so, Joseph, though, man, because now you're fighting guys that just see you're not the same fighter, and it's like almost man, they're fighting for you for I don't know what Andre Ward can gain by fighting him instead of a paycheck. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's gonna really move the needle. You know what I mean? It's not gonna make him uh, be. He's an all-time great to a degree, but it's not going to put him in, Mount
Well,
Rushmore if
look,
he beats.
let's be honest. Let's be honest. He's not Manny Pacquiao who can sell tickets.
Right.
He's beloved by the entire world. It's not Floyd Mayweather Jr. either. It's a guy who was never known to sell tickets even when he was active.
Okay.
There's no demand to see it. And Anthony Joshua shouldn't even think twice about SOG. Like, he should focus on getting that tune-up in February and looking forward to Tyson Fury, because he's got nothing left to prove in this business. Anthony Joshua is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's a two-time unified world champion in the heavyweight division, and he's got nothing left to prove. He's fought everyone in his era except for Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. And in my opinion, that's how he's going to go out, fighting those two gentlemen.
Agreed.
So those are my thoughts. I tell you what, let's get started. Oh boy. In our best and worst of boxing in 2025. Okay, we're going to start, guys, with Fight Card of the Year. Boy, we've seen some great ones and we've seen some real stinkers, and we'll call out each and every one of them. First candidate for the best card of the year. Number one, The Last Crescendo on February 22nd, 2025 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And it was headlined by Beterbiev versus Bivol Part 2 in the main event. Also featured Joseph Parker versus Martin Bakoli. Also featured Shakur Stevenson with some ham and egger because Floyd Schofield got sick. It featured Virgil Ortiz, successful decision over Makhmedov, was it?
Yeah.
Hamza Shiraz in a draw with Carlos Adames. Agit Kabayel stopping the Big Banjalay Zhang, and Callum Smith getting a spirited decision over I can't remember now, but that was all action. That was a great fight. That's our candidate number one. Candidate number two, Benavidez versus Yard, that just happened last month, November 22nd in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia as well. It also featured Haney versus Norman, Bam Rodriguez versus Martinez, Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes as well. And our candidate number three for Fight Card of the Year, Benavidez versus Morrell Jr., February 1st in Vegas. Also featuring Figueroa versus Fulton, Cruz versus Fierro, Ramos Jr. versus Rosario. So who would you pick as Fight Card of the Year, sir?
I would have to go with Bivol and Beterbiev, that fight card, man. I think that one right there, Joseph, looking back, for me, was clearly top to bottom. It had suspense, it had intrigue, you had good scraps. Just the idea of seeing, okay, man, can Bivol, the ultimate technician, beat the indestructible force, which is, Beterbiev. And that was a great fight. It really was. And I'm gonna go with that card, Joseph, to me.
Yeah, you know what? It was billed as the greatest fight card of all time, The Last Crescendo. And you know what? It delivered. It really did. Of course, it was very disappointing because originally billed was supposed to be Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker, but he got sick the week of the fight. And then Shakur Stevenson was supposed to face Floyd Schofield, but Floyd got sick. There was a bug in Saudi Arabia that week, and several people got sick. In fact, my brother Thomas Triber was also under the weather that entire week. So, but he did his job. But then again, yeah, when you fall ill, boy, it's very hard to focus on your opponent when you have to step in the squared circle. So that's Rodney's pick for the Fight Card of the Year 2025, the last crescendo on February 22nd in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Oh boy. Now we go to the worst or most disappointing Fight Card of the Year 2025, brother. Oh, geez. This is going to be tough. Number 1, Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull on May 3rd, 2025, also featuring Jaime Munguia, Martin Bacoli, and Badu Jack. Chingao, Bacoli was fighting Efe Ajagba and came in well over 300 pounds. He looked like a fat slug. Munguia, yeah, he tested positive, and I think it was ruled a no contest after that. And then Badu Jack, well, old Badu Jack, it was a terrible fight. And let's be honest, that main event, Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was just terrible. Let's move on to candidate number 2. The day before in New York City, Fatal Fury in Times Square, featuring Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero, Devin Haney versus Martinez or Ramirez, and Teofimo Lopez versus Arnold Barbosa. Oh, boy. And then number 3, it happened yesterday. Judgment Day, Paul versus Joshua, featuring Alicia Bumgarner and Anderson Silva. What is your winner for worst fight card of 2025, my friend?
Man, they all, I mean, he can qualify for the top bill, you know what I mean, as far as worse. Uh
Now, keep in mind, guys, our criterion are, well, the anticipation leading up to the event and how it really failed to sizzle. Not only just failing to sizzle, but really disappointing everyone who paid for these events, or was really looking forward to these.
okay.
Right?
Right.
So once
So,
again, I'm going to name the candidates again.
yeah.
Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull, Fatal Fury in Times Square, and Judgment Day, which we saw last night, or on Friday night, rather.
So, for me, I'm going to go with the one that featured Ryan Garcia. uh and you know, you had Devin Haney on the card and you had Teofimo Lopez. And let me tell you why. These 3 dudes at one time were heralded as the future of boxing. Okay,
Yep.
the new flag.
3 of the 4 new kings. Yep.
Yep, the new flag bearers. And based on that moment, that setting, it deserves so much more. And I think since then, all their value, a lot of their value and their stock has plummeted. You don't
Yep.
see Ryan Garcia in the same fashion that you did. I think Devin Haney has lost a lot of his motion. And, you know, Teofimo, man, really, I mean, he had it, man. At one point, man, after he had beat Lomachenko, he had the world in his hand, man. And everybody thought, okay, man, like maybe he is the guy. After that performance, though, it was much to be desired. So, in my opinion, I'm going to go with that because these guys are in the prime of their career. Still young, okay? Not
Oh,
some,
geez.
you know, and they had the stage, they had the setting. Uh, it was no, I mean, they had it to where they could have left a huge impression on the sport and probably could have got any fight they wanted after that, and they just failed to deliver.
Oh, boy. I'll tell you what. Honorable mention. Honorable mention was Jack Catterall versus Arnold Barbosa and Terrence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez. Because let's be honest, aside from that Martinez Mbili fight, that card was terrible, and you were there live.
Yeah, agreed.
But
Yeah.
those were honorable mentions, guys. So Rodney's pick for worst fight card of the year 2025 is Fatal Fury in Times Square. And I can't disagree with anything that you said. That was miserable, guys. And that was on pay-per-view. And I think it serves as the best selling pay-per-view that didn't include Canelo this year. That's how disappointing it was, guys. Everyone was disappointed. Let's move on to Fighter of the Year. And we've got, I think, 5 or 6 nominees for this, brother. 5. So our first nominee is Terrence Bud Crawford, moved up 2 weight classes to defeat Canelo Alvarez by unanimous decision on September 13th, 2025. He became the 3 undisputed championships in 3 different divisions, the only person to achieve this in the 4-belt era. But that is something. Number 2. Now, this guy fights this Saturday, too. Naoya the Monster Inoue remained one of the most active elite fighters in 2025, maintaining his dominance at junior featherweight with wins over Kim by knockout. Ramon Cardenas, my brother, by TKO on ESPN, one of the great fights of this year. And MJ Akhmadaliev, and he still fights Picasso this Saturday. That's number 2. Number 3, Alexander Usyk. He continued his reign at the top of the heavyweight division, defeating Daniel Dubois by knockout in the 5th round in July 2025 rematch at Wembley Stadium in front of 80,000 fans. Number 4, Jesse Bam Rodriguez solidified his position as a pound-for-pound star with a dominant 2025 campaign at junior bantamweight with wins over Cafu and Martinez. Number 5, our final candidate for Fighter of the Year, Dimitri Bivol. He evened out one of the biggest rivalries in the sport by avenging his only career loss, defeating Arthur Beterbiev by majority decision in February. So who is your selection for Fighter of the Year? Dimitri Bivol, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, Alexander Usyk, Naoya the Monster Inoue, or Terrence Bud Crawford?
I mean, I love Usyk. I definitely love, Bam Rodriguez, man. He's had a great year. And you can't forget about the monster anyway. I mean, man, you have to give them guys their flowers and their respect. I'm gonna have to go with Terrence Bud Crawford, and let me tell you why. Okay, we can sit here and say, well, Canelo's not the same fighter. Canelo, and you have a valid point. Okay, you can also say Terrence Crawford's not the same fighter he was 4 or 5 years ago as well either. Okay,
Yep.
so let's and for him to go up to 168, and even though Canelo's no true 168 pounder, but to go up there and beat Canelo so convincingly with ease, stand toe to toe with him, uh, perform under the big lights, handle that responsibility, being on that big stage and doing it in a seamless and ease-like fashion, I'm going to give it to Terrence Crawford, man. And again, those other guys are well deserving. Don't get me wrong. But for Crawford to go up to that stage and dismantle Canelo and make it look like easy work, man, I'm going to go with Bud as far as Fight of the Year.
Yeah, once again, guys, there are no wrong answers here, but I think you're right. Considering the stakes, considering moving up from 54 to 68 and beating the stalwart of the division and a future Hall of Famer as well, Canelo Alvarez, and doing it convincingly to the point where no one is clamoring really for a rematch. Not even Canelo fans. That's how convincing it was, guys. Regardless of what the scorecards read. Ching Gao. Dude, according to 2 of the judges at ringside, Terrence had to win that last round to eke out a decision. That's absurd. But
Same.
guys, he is Rodney Green's fighter of 2025. Okay, buddy. Now here's the interesting category. Most disappointing fighter of the year 2025. Wow, this one's interesting. This has, I think, 5 candidates. And this is going to be tough, Rodney. Canelo Alvarez. Despite remaining undisputed champion for most of the year, Canelo faced heavy criticism for his choice of opponents and perceived decline in performance. Number 2, Anthony Joshua. Despite his victory over influencer Jake Paul 2 days ago, he's viewed as a reputational loss despite the result. And he was inactive for the entire year, pretty much. Number 3, Ryan Garcia. Following a chaotic and suspended 2024, an unexpected upset and outside of the ring distraction defined Garcia's 2025 campaign. Oh boy. Number 4, Gervonta Tank Davis. His overall inactivity and everything that happened to him outside of the ring made his only headlines. Wow. And number 5, maybe my biggest disappointment, I think, maybe. Keyshawn Davis went from capturing his first world title to being stripped of it and then stepping away from the sport entirely. Those are your 5 candidates for most disappointing fighter of the year. Keyshawn Davis, Gervonta Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, Anthony Joshua, and Canelo Alvarez. So who gets Rodney Green's most disappointing fighter of the year 2025?
I would say Gervonta Davis, and let me expound on that.
Mm.
Man, Gervonta Davis had it, Joseph.
Yep.
He was a pay-per-view attraction. Okay. He was on the cusp of superstardom. When Leonard Ellaby was in the fold, he would always tell him he is the future of boxing. And even though, man, they did a good job of, kind of crafting his career where, he didn't always fight for the undisputed, or he would, but again, man, he would get he would get the fights, he would get the paydays he wanted. You know what I mean? He would get the pay-per-view dates, he would sell out. He had a great fan base. And he just seemingly just woke up and just said one day, like, you know what? F it, man. I'm gonna, not be interested in the sport that has given me so much, man. And I really thought, man, even with him not fighting the competition that I always wanted him to fight, I thought he could have been good for the sport of boxing because he could have been the one that really put acid in the seats, could have put it on pay-per-view. Folks
been that next crossover star with the elite level ability.
He had it, Joseph. He had it, and he threw it away. And it's really sad. You know what I mean? So just that,
like this says it all. He couldn't even secure a fight with YouTube clown Jake or Jake Paul. He couldn't even do that right. Like, dude, what does that say?
Yeah, exactly. And if you want the payday that you want, and if you want to, you don't want to fight for titles, you don't want to fight for legacy, okay, and you want to fight for the bag, well, there's your opportunity in Jake Paul. And you're right. You don't even do that correctly.
Oh, man.
So, I have to go with Gervonta, though, Joseph. I mean, and I like Gervonta. As far as his skill set and thinking that he could be good for the sport. Now, again, I do have issues with the way they choreographed, his opponents and his career. I really do. But far as, man, crossover ability, getting people to come to fights that normally wouldn't come, that was Gervonta. Okay? And for him just to say, okay, you know what? I don't want to really do it no more or take the sport serious. Man, very disappointed because man, he is still in his prime of his career. I don't even think Javante, he may be what in his early 30s, or even if he's 30 yet, still a young man that has a
Yep.
chance to make a real, living a lot of money for himself, and to just kind of let it go away is really puzzling, man. To be honest, though.
Yeah, just terrible. But look, I forgot to mention this, guys. Let's go back to Fighter of the Year. I forgot to mention our honorable mentions. Notable candidates. Devin Haney became a 3-division champion by defeating Brian Norman Jr. to win the WBO welterweight title in November. Junto Nakatani continued his rise in Japan with dominant wins over Cuellar and Nishida, positioning himself for a mega fight with Inoue in 2026. And also, we can't forget mentioning Manny Pacquiao at age 46, fought to a majority draw against WBC welterweight champion Mario Barrios in July. Credited for becoming the second oldest world champion level competitor in history. Yep. Those are our honorable mentions, but close but no cigar. So there it is, guys. Most disappointing fighter of 2025, according to Rodney Green. Gervonta Tank Davis, and I can't disagree with any of that. Man, I tell you what, man, that was a mouthful that you said, but it was well deserved. And something
Yeah.
tells me that you've been wanting to say that for quite a while.
Well, here's here's what happens with that, Joseph. When you grow, when you get with a promotional outlet who doesn't really uh, foster your growth with, again, man, fighting the right opponents, putting you in a position to where, you can build yourself not only inside but outside the ring, and really, man, build your character, man, to say, okay, now you're at a level now where, okay, the things you did as a teenager and, what you was doing 10, 15 years ago, like, no, man, you're not going to be a household name doing that. You have to have someone in your corner to, man, like say, okay, or have the promotional outlet and say, look, man, uh, leave that alone. Let's get you in the gym. Let's get you away. Let's get you a big fight. Let's capitalize on the next 3, 4 years. You know what I mean? Of your popularity. Build you up to where, again, you're set financially for the rest of your life. And as a promotional outlet, we can get a great return on our investment in the years that we've invested in you. Somewhere, and I think it started, man, when he started changing trainers, though, Joseph. When uh to me a red flag was when he demoted Calvin to be, I don't know if he was an assistant trainer or he got somebody else inside, the camp, to where he wasn't the only trainer anymore. I
Well,
said right there,
look, it was obvious, and the first indication was in the build up to the first Lamont Roach fight last year. He stated, you know what? I attribute all of my problems with aggression and anger to the sport of boxing, and I don't think I want to do it anymore. But you're right. He was given everything.
yeah,
He was given everything. His fan base stuck up for him through thick and thin when he was receiving all this criticism for
yeah,
not fighting the best of the division. They stood by him and he spat in their faces
yeah.
collectively. He said, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not going to do this anymore. He made millions from this business and from his fans, and he didn't care. So I'm right there with you, brother. Our honorable mentions for most disappointing year for these fighters. Jayo Pataya, he and his promoter screwed up a done deal with Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, and he basically fought bums all year and was largely inactive. And then Artur Beterbiev. Dude, can this guy stay healthy to have 2 fights in 1 year? Ching Gao, he was supposed to have a rubber match with Bevel. And then he was supposed to come back on the Beterbiev yard card. He couldn't do that either. If you can't stay healthy Just retire, brother.
Yeah.
No one's going to think any less of you for it, but don't waste our time. Those are honorable mentions. Did I
Let me
leave anyone out?
add one more honorable mention, sir.
Uh-oh.
And
Uh-oh.
we can't let him off the hook. Edgar
Uh-oh.
Berlanga.
Oh,
And
jeez.
here's
Hamburger Langa. Oh, my gosh, dude.
a
What a
guy.
clown.
Oh my God. You felt he was already the superstar come fight week when he fought Jerez.
Canelo? Mm.
Uh, I mean, he just felt like he was already arrived. He was gonna do this and do that. I mean,
by losing a decision to Canelo Alvarez.
yeah. I mean, I'm like, and come fight weekend, he did everything right. He had the nice haircut. He wore the nice jewelry. He promoted his clothing line. He did everything else. He disrespected the fighter. Said he was going to knock him out. He was going to do this.
Hamza Shiraz. Yep.
And to see him lose in the fashion that he did, man, I am so done with Belanga. I don't want to see him no more on a on a PPV card. I
Oh,
don't care where
gosh.
he goes, just go away. Okay, a clown, a
Yes.
clown.
Please just go away. Please go away. Goodness gracious.
And
Edgar Hamburger Langa, the last honorable mention by Rodney Green. Now, guys, we get into the nitty gritty. Here's the fight of the year 2025. Guys, keep in mind, you're not going to agree with some of these that we left off, but you have to understand there has to be high stakes, not just rock'em sock'em robots, because I can guarantee you, you guys are going to be pissed that Lester Martinez and Christian Mbili is not on this list. That was on the undercard. It wasn't even the co-main event of Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Crawford. Even though it was a great fight, it's full of action, not a whole lot of skill there, guys. And what was it for? Was it for a title? No. So it's not on this list. And I know I'm going to piss off several of our listeners, but this is our list, guys. Make your own. Yeah. Fight of the year, number one candidate. There are 6 candidates here, guys. Number 1, Dmitry Bivol versus Arthur Beterbiev 2, February 1st, 2025, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Guys, that had it all. Not only was it all action, the irresistible force against the immovable object, but it was a chess match, brutal chess match at the highest level. Number 2, Terrence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez, September 13th, 2025 at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Guys, the two of the biggest stars of the sport in Reliance, or was it Allegiant Stadium?
yeah, Allegiant Stadium.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, not T-Mobile Arena. My apologies, guys. Yeah, and it was a packed house, guys. That was impressive. And boy, all eyes were on them on Netflix, the biggest stage of boxing right now. And I tell you what, brilliant performance. Number 3, Jesse Bam Rodriguez versus Fernando Martinez, November 8, 2025, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. One of the finest performances you will see in boxing, and maybe one of the best performances I've seen overall over the past 20 years. It was a true masterclass. Number 4, Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois 2, July 26, 2025, at Wembley Stadium in London, England, in front of over 80,000 fans. Oof, what a spectacle. Number 5, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Ben 1. Wasn't for a title. It was at a catchweight, but it was all action, and the fans were the beneficiaries of it. And as a surprise, Chris Eubank Sr. ended up being in his son's corner after being displaced for quite some time. Boy, that was a nice cherry on top for that event. And number 6, Noya Inoue versus MJ Akhmadaliev, September 2025 in Tokyo, Japan. And Noi Inoue put on a masterclass in what was, well, viewed originally as the most challenging and competitive fight matchup of Noi Inoue's career. And here's an honorable mention. Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios, a sentimental favorite where the 46-year-old Pacquiao fought to a thrilling majority draw, proving that he could still compete at the elite world title level, even if it's in a lackluster division like the welterweights right now. So which one is your fight of the year? Dimitri Bivol, Arthur Beterbiev 2, Terrence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, Bam Rodriguez, Fernando Martinez, Alexander Usyk, Daniel Dubois, Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn 1, Noi Inoue versus MJ Akhmadaliev, or Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios?
You know what? Those were all some good fights, but I'm gonna have to go with uh, really Bivol and Beterbiev to 1B. I'm gonna go with Ben and Eubank. Okay. Uh, for me, you know, to see Beterbiev and Bivol, man, to fight like that. Oftentimes, when you get a guy who has technical brilliance, man, he shies away from combat, doesn't quite engage. But that wasn't Bivol at all, though. Man, that fight to me truly lived up to the billing, man. I mean, you have a killer in Beterbiev, and you have technical brilliance in Bivol. And it played out to where it was just a great, exciting fight. And I really, I mean, that was probably my favorite fight of the year. And I say 1B with Ben and Eubank. Man, it was an electric atmosphere. It really was. It was back and forth. Um, it got me out of my seat. I love the true backstory on both fighters, man. The true dislike they really had for each other. But man, the sportsmanship they showed once it was over, man, very classy. And a lot of folks wouldn't mind seeing it again. So for me, those are my picks. But by far, Bivol and Beterbiev, number one for me.
I couldn't agree more. That had it all. That had it all, guys. If you love boxing and you want to see action, but you want to see a technical chess match with brilliance from both sides, that was it. It had everything, and it topped off one of the greatest cards we've ever seen, maybe in history. It was outstanding. But Chris Eubank versus Conor Benn, also the first one, that was a shockingly great fight.
Yeah.
And it was a huge event, and it was one of the few pay-per-views of recent memory that actually came through in the main event. It captured the imagination of all the great UK fans, pound for pound, the best fans in boxing. So I couldn't agree more, brother. Yeah, 1A and 1B. Very good call. Gosh. Now, once again, we're almost an hour in, and we're going to wrap it up with the final category. And once again, guys, this is just our first installment, right? But this is going to be a reoccur. I think we've got 3 different episodes before New Year's Eve where we're going to have the best and worst of everything in boxing, guys, including promotional companies, including trainers, including networks and everything else. But guys, we go to worst fight of the year. And this is going to be a very tough decision by you, Rodney.
Okay.
Number 1, Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull, May 3rd, 2025. This was Cinco de Mayo weekend. First of all, they put it in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Cinco de Mayo weekend, boxing's biggest Mexican star fighting in Saudi Arabia. Really? And then against William Skull, who didn't want to fight. Absolutely dreadful. Number 2, Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez the day before. Absolutely dreadful, in which it was like watching grass grow, Rodney.
Mm-hmm.
I found more enjoyment watching my paint dry. Number 3, Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano 3 in one of the biggest cards of the year. And it was considered by most. And once again, I can't stand women's boxing. But when you put it on a pedestal like this and it fails to sizzle, and it's a disappointing outcome as well to most fans, I had to include it. Number 4, Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero the same day as Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez. And the day before Canelo versus William Skull. What an awful weekend for boxing. It's like you saw two guys with knockout potential just staring at each other for most of the fight, waiting for the next guy to throw first. And then number 5, the one we just saw this past Friday, Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, Judgment Day, December 19th, in which one guy wanted to fight and the other guy just wanted to survive. So which one is it, Rodney? Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero, Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano 3, Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez, and Canelo versus William Skull. Who gets the honors for the worst fight in 2025?
Oh my God. They all kidding. You know, think back, man. But I'm gonna have to go with the fight Friday night between Jake Paul and Joshua. And let me tell
Really?
you, and let me tell you why. Let me tell you why.
I thought you were going to say 1 A, B, C, D, and E.
Yeah, I mean, l- let me tell you why. You know, uh, I could say Canelo because man, that was just like it was, dreadful. But when you see a guy like Jake Paul who's falling down, has no balance, okay, uh, doesn't have the conditioning, doesn't have, to me, when you put a product out there like that, you kind of reduce the sport, man. Okay, and
Especially on the biggest
yeah,
platform for entertainment in the
it-
entire world.
yeah, and again, man, a lot of folks may not understand, say I'm being harsh, but man, I come from the '80s and '90s era, man, where you would never see a guy have that kind of balance, holding on someone's legs, not to fall. I mean, it just was, man, like, I mean, it was almost like, man, what am I watching here? I mean, is he really trying to, and uh, I would have to, man, because you're right. You're on the biggest platform, and it just showed, man, when you are lacking uh, boxing fundamentals. You don't take your conditioning serious. You don't do anything to show that you are a professional or a world class fighter. I think you really bring shame to the game, though, man. To see him falling the way he was falling Saturday night, horrible balance, man. Horrible balance, man. I've never seen a fighter that had that type of balance, man, where it just was evident. So I'm gonna go with the other night, and then I'll put 1B Canelo, man, because here's the thing about Canelo, man. One thing you can
Oh,
say about
jeez.
Canelo, I mean, folks don't may not realize, man, the young Canelo, man, really fought a lot of quality opponents, man. He really did. And to see him in there with these, journeymen. I mean, come on, Skull. And he was just like, he wouldn't even really. I mean, it was shocking to see that performance, though. So those two really come to mind. And I would just give the other night, man, with Jake Paul. But, again, man, Jake Paul doesn't have the amateur background. He doesn't have a lot of things that fighters should have. You know what I'm saying? And it showed. And that's why ultimately, man, what happened the other night, to him, shouldn't be totally unexpected.
Honestly, I think it's a five-way tie. They're all
Ah.
dreadful and they're all terrible because look, I'm just going to put this up there, right? We all know that Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull on pay-per-view was absolutely dreadful, but I'm going to show you this again, Rodney. Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez was just as bad
Yeah.
as Canelo versus Skull. And we all were dying to see, well, how's Devin Haney going to come back from that embarrassing showing opposite Ryan Garcia at the Barclays Center? And he looked like he was afraid of his own shadow, and this guy's supposed to be elite.
Mhm. Good point.
That was terrible. And look, we're going to skip over the women. That was just embarrassing. And then number 4, Ryan Garcia, after being suspended, getting paid $20 million rock, doesn't throw any punches, and almost forfeits the title to a clown like Rolly Romero. Come on. Rolly Romero is now the WBA champion at welterweight?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? He is now a 3-division world champion?
Man. Yeah.
And this is boxing?
Mhm.
So anyone who tries to say, oh, Jake Paul he does so much damage. Dude, all of these fights did more damage than Jake Paul to the sport of boxing. Because these guys are supposed to be real fighters. But yes, you have to lump this one in there with him because it was downright embarrassing. On the biggest platform for entertainment in the entire world. I want to see how many people tuned into this. I can't wait to see the numbers released
Mhm.
because it was downright embarrassing, every single one of these. And can you believe they all happened this year?
Yeah.
That's why we saved this category for the last. All of these embarrassing fights, I'm going to list them all again. They all happened this year. How dreadful for our beloved boxing. Well, we're at the end of the line. Yeah, Rodney, did I forget to list anything? I'll say this. I'll say this once again. Honorable mentions for best fight of the year. I forgot. Well, I didn't forget, but look, it wasn't for major world title. It wasn't for anything, but you have to almost put an honorable mention Pitbull Cruz versus Angel Fiera.
Oh yeah.
That
I
was
mean,
an amazing war.
yeah,
But
Pitbull
once
Cruz.
again, it was for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was
And
a good.
it wasn't the most skilled affair we've ever seen. And just like Christian and Mbeele versus Lester Martinez, it was all action throughout, plenty of drama, but not a whole lot of skill, and it wasn't for anything. But those are our 2 honorable mentions for fight of the year. Did I miss anything in these lists, Rodney?
No, I think you got it all covered, boss. I think you got it all covered. I really do.
Oh man, dude, worst fight of the year. Oh, Chingao. Yeah, this is a toss-up, guys. I'm dumbfounded that all 5 of these candidates happened this year. Can you remember a year where we had so many candidates for worst fight? And this is at the top level of the sport.
I mean, no, I mean, it comes to mind, man. I think this year was again a telltale of just the health of the sport, man. Because a lot of these fighters, man, at one point, man, they were supposed to be the new flag bearers or the new generation of the sport of boxing, and they were all involved, man. You look at some who were, again, man, had some bright moments, man, uh, in their career, and you thought that they would be able to take that next quantum leap, and they regressed, man, wholeheartedly. So I can't remember a year where we had this many bad fights, and we can only hope, man, for the health of the sport that 2026 won't be a replay of what we witnessed 2025. So we'll see, because in January we do get Tiafimo versus Shakur. Now I know you're not excited about that fight, Joseph. You're not too thrilled, but two young guys who, at one point were, deemed the next guys. Okay, the next generation. I think that fight, if it's a dud, I mean that could be a indication of what 2026 will be. If it's a good fight, who knows, man? Maybe that trend will tick upward. So we'll see what 2026 holds.
Well, I will say this, Rodney. Thank you once again for doing this. But um, yeah, here's the worst part of the worst fights of the year candidates. Their purses combined exceed well over $200 million.
Shocking.
All these guys got astronomical career high paydays for this crap. Yeah, that's the worst part about it, guys. So when people try and insist to me that Jake Paul has done uh irreversible damage to the sport, no, he's not the biggest problem that we face in the American market in boxing today. It's these entitled babies who don't have the discipline, the mental toughness, and they call themselves real fighters and demand and hold the sport ransom, demanding millions without taking any calculated risks in the ring. That's our biggest dilemma, guys. And it has to be reversed, or else we will say goodbye to boxing forever in 2026, 2027, at least in the States. Because in the UK, Japan, Germany, South America, Australia, it's thriving everywhere else. And our biggest draw in America, now that Gervonta Davis is out of the sport, you can't count on Ryan Garcia. Our biggest draw in America is Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Say it ain't so, Rodney.
Yeah. We are where we are.
All I have to say to that is let's go Spurs. What are we, 20-7 now?
Yeah, yeah, we're rolling. We're rolling.
There it goes, guys. We're going to have to end it on some spark of light. Jeez, because this is downright embarrassing. Yeah, guys. So there it is. There's our first segment of best and worst for boxing in 2026. Goodness gracious. Guys, I can just say this. Look forward to brilliant showings by Naoya Inoue and Junto Nakatani to cap off the year in boxing in a good way. And notice, those aren't two young American fighters. There it is. Any final words, Rodney?
Well, again, as 2025 comes to a close, we'll just see what 2026 brings, though. I don't know what's on the horizon.
TKO League, their first fight card starts in February.
Okay.
Dana White, do you think he's going to have an impact on the landscape of boxing in the American market with a TV deal on Paramount Peacock? Or no, I'm
Well,
sorry, Paramount CBS.
my thing is with Dana White, uh, oftentimes, man, whether it's in professional football where you have the NFL, then you try to get the USFL, then you try to get the NBA, they have like a CBA. You don't always get the best talent. Okay, you don't always get the high profile superstars. So it would be interesting to see if he can acquire the talented fighters and convince them to take a pay cut, okay, or conform to that UFC model. Easier said than done, but he will have an impact one way or the other because he will have the TV dates. But I don't know about the quality of fighters, man, that he's going to be able to have in his stable. I really, really don't, though. So that's very interesting to see. And also, too, man, I just want to give Terrence Crawford, man, his due. Thank you for a great career. Uh, you had a long illustrious career. I'm glad to see you go out on your terms, and I wish you well, man, in all your retirement days or your future endeavors or whatever you choose to do. Salute you.
Now, definitely um, one of the few bright spots of 2025 in the world of boxing, especially American boxing. Terrence Crawford really stood out, and that was your candidate for Fighter of the Year. Guys, there it is. On behalf of boxing analysts and Rodney Green, I'm Joseph Aaron. You've been listening to WaraWeek Boxing. Have a great week, everybody, and a Merry Christmas.
WA.W Holdings proudly presents WaraWeek Radio Chats with ring announcer Joseph Herron.